The Devil's Advocate aligns with A Course in Miracles almost uncannily because both explore temptation, ego seduction, projection, guilt, specialness, illusion, and the belief that separation can be made meaningful. But ACIM would frame the devil very differently than the movie does. In the film, evil appears personalized through John Milton, played by Al Pacino. In ACIM, the devil is not an actual opposing cosmic force battling God. It is closer to the ego thought system, the belief in separation, attack, specialness, and self-authorship apart from love. Milton embodies that brilliantly. He is charming, intelligent, seductive, persuasive, playful, sensual. Not crude evil, that's important. The ego rarely introduces itself as destruction. It presents itself as empowerment. Milton constantly appeals to Kevin Lomax's vanity, ambition, and desire for uniqueness. He offers him the intoxicating fantasy of becoming extraordinary through worldly success. ACIM repeatedly warns about specialness for this reason. Specialness says, I can become more important, more powerful, more superior than others. And the ego sells this as freedom. But underneath is isolation. Kevin begins the film already addicted to winning. Even before Milton enters fully, Kevin compromises truth for success. He defends guilty clients not because he believes in justice, but because victory reinforces identity. That's a core ACIM dynamic. The ego uses achievement to stabilize a fragile self-concept. Winning becomes psychological survival. Milton simply amplifies what was already latent that matters spiritually. Temptation usually works through existing identification. The ego hooks into unexamined desires, recognition, control, sexual validation, status, importance. Milton understands Kevin because Milton is the logic of egoic self-interest personified. Then there's New York itself in the film. The city becomes almost symbolic of ego consciousness, seductive, competitive, hyper-stimulating, status-obsessed, sensory-driven. Everything glitters while psychologically decaying underneath. ACIM often describes the ego's world similarly, a glittering substitute reality attempting to distract from inner emptiness. The movie constantly contrasts external success with internal fragmentation. Kevin gains wealth and influence while losing relationship, peace, honesty, and perceptual clarity. That's classic ACIM. The ego promises expansion while producing contraction. Then there's Mary Ann. Her psychological collapse is crucial because she begins perceiving beneath appearances. While Kevin becomes increasingly intoxicated by ambition, she starts sensing distortion everywhere. Faces changing, people becoming monstrous, reality losing coherence. From an ACIM perspective, this symbolizes the instability of ego perception itself. The ego's world depends on maintaining appearances. But once cracks appear, fear intensifies because the identity structure is threatened. And the film wisely shows that ego pursuit affects relationships profoundly. Kevin increasingly treats Mary Ann not as a being to join with, but as collateral to his self-project. That's what ACIM calls the special relationship, using others to support identity, pleasure, security, or self-image. The ego says, what role do you play in my story? Love asks, what are we beyond the story? Milton's famous line, vanity, definitely my favorite sin, is almost pure ACIM psychology. Vanity in the Course is not merely arrogance about appearance, it is identification with the self-made self, the belief that the ego identity is autonomous, self-created, and meaningful apart from God. The ego worships authorship. I made myself, my success defines me, my image is reality. Milton loves vanity because vanity sustains separation. There's also a profound ACIM theme around choice. Throughout the film, Kevin keeps acting as though he has no real alternative. This is how the world works. Success requires compromise. Power justifies corruption. ACIM calls this the ego's inevitability narrative. The ego says this is reality, adapt or lose. But the Course insists another teacher is always available. Kevin's final act matters enormously because he refuses the entire game. Not merely one temptation, the whole identity structure. He relinquishes the egoic victory system itself. That resembles ACIM's idea that salvation does not come from becoming a better ego, but from withdrawing investment from the ego's framework entirely. Still, the ending contains one final warning, the reporter's transformation. Even after apparent redemption, vanity reappears instantly in subtler form. That's psychologically honest. The ego is recursive. Spiritual awakening can itself become specialness. I'm more conscious. I chose truth. I transcended temptation. The ego will even wear humility as a costume if it preserves identity. That's why ACIM emphasizes vigilance without paranoia, not fighting evil, but gently recognizing how the mind keeps choosing separation. And perhaps the deepest ACIM resonance in The Devil's Advocate is this. The devil never truly forces Kevin to do anything. He persuades, entices, flatters, distorts, because the ego survives through agreement, not coercion. The real battleground is not external evil, but the mind's willingness to believe that fear, power, and specialness can ever replace love.